So here we are, my tacticians. Welcome back to, well, I believe this is part 2 of the guides I'm talking about when it comes to preparing your first VGC team. So here we are looking at Haxorus. So what am I doing now in this episode? Why are we on Showdown exactly? Why are we on Team Builder? Why are we looking at Haxorus? And why are we looking at 4 different moves in the ability? Well, in this video, I'm going to be talking about only the moves and the ability for these 6 Pokemon that we picked for our first VGC team. So, I'm not going to be going over the items. That's going to be in the next one. I'm not going to go over the, the EVs and the IV spread. No, there's a reason why I'm doing this, and it's because I'm showing you step by step how you want to, prepare for your first VGC team, what you want to look at first before you actually, commit to any VGC team. And look at why do you need what Pokemon are going to be doing what, why they need their assigned roles, why they need their specific items or movesets, etc. And basically why you see what people do with their teams and why they're doing what they do with them. So first of all, we've assigned Haxorus to be our sweeper. He's going to be our big old sweeper. He's going to be the one that's going in there, getting all the physical attacks going off. He's going to be jumping in there, dealing as much damage as he can, and he's not going to care what happens to him, so, or the opponent for that matter. He's just going in there to, deal lots and lots of damage. So, why do we have Haxorus on the field? And the first moves, or the first thing we're going to be looking at is the ability. So, first of all, Haxorus gets 3 abilities. First is going to be Rivalry, then we got Mold Breaker, and then we have the hidden ability, which is Unnerve. The reason why we have the Unnerve ability is because there are a lot of Pokemon in VGC that rely on berries. They rely solely on their berries to be able to keep them going in the fight. You see it with like Snorlax. They set up the belly drum, they eat that berry really quickly, and then they just come back swinging even harder next turn. You also run into Pokemon that rely on the health berries to keep them going in the fight so that they can set up the field in their favor. So you see that with Pokemon such as Cresselia or Suicune, for example. They rely on that berry to keep them going, keep them fighting, and basically keep them just fighting on the field. This ability, however, the Unnerve ability, the reason why we gave Haxorus the Unnerve ability is because it prevents the opponent from using their ability, or it prevents them from using their berries. So as long as Haxorus stays on the field, it doesn't matter how low they get, what conditions their berry requires them to have, they will not be able to eat their berry until Haxorus leaves the field in one way or another. So that is why we're giving Haxorus, our sweeper, the Unnerve ability. Prevent them from making use of the berries, prevent them from getting any benefits from them, and force them to fight our kind of battle. Now as for moves, well, we're going basically for a standard set of moves. We're going for the Earthquake, we're going for Outrage, we're going for Brick Break. The reason why I like running Brick Break on certain Pokemon, if I can, is because it allows me to break through certain barriers. So if a person is running, like, say, the Aurora Veil or Light Screen or Reflect barriers, Brick Break will destroy those screens. It doesn't matter what kind of screen it is, it will destroy it. Reason why Outrage, it's pretty standard. It's one of the most powerful dragon type physical attacking moves in the game, probably the strongest. Your Pokemon hits a random Pokemon or opponent on the field, and if they, after 2 or 3 turns, they get confused afterwards, but don't worry about that. We'll cover that later on in the field, or later on in the video. Next we go for Earthquake, self-explanatory. A lot of Pokemon are weak to ground type moves, so why not run an Earthquake just in case? While most of our team would be, not liking that, we have some protection against that, so don't worry about Earthquake. And finally, Facade. The reason why I like running Facade is people will try to burn you. People will most definitely try to burn you. They will try to set up Will-O-Wisp, they will try to do whatever they can, scald damage. And if for some reason you get burned, that's gonna really hamper our sweeper. But the Facade will make sure that even if we are burned or poisoned or whatever, Facade will allow us to run at full power regardless. So that is why we run Facade. Now moving on to our tank. You'll see that the first move we gave Toxapex is Baneful Bunker. And so you'll see most of the Pokemon on our team will be running the Protect. So it doesn't matter if we run, like, say, like for example, if we go for Earthquake, we can Protect that turn. We don't mind running Protect. We don't mind running Earthquake. We don't mind taking the risk and hitting ourselves because we got protection moves on us. We also have, since this is going to be mostly a special attacking Toxapex, we will have Scald for burn damage. We'll have Sludge Wave to hit multiple Pokemon on the field. Again, we don't have to worry about hurting our own team because most of our Pokemon will be running the Protect. And finally, we've got Toxic Spikes. So if we get a chance to run the Toxic Spikes, throw them out onto the field, the opponent's gonna have a hard time dealing with them. They're gonna have to deal with that constant poison damage, threat of poison, etc. And finally, for the ability, we got the Regenerator ability. So Toxapex, because Toxapex is going to be our wall, going to be our defensive Pokemon, it's going to be needing to take a lot of damage as much as possible. We're going to need to recover as much health as we possibly can. Now, we could trade out the Toxic Spikes for something else. We could go for, like, if we want to, we can go for the Recover move. Instead, if we don't want to run the Toxic Spikes, we can instead go for the Recover and go for a Regenerator Toxapex. So if Toxapex switches in, it will recover 1/3 of its health that it's lost, and when it switches out, or etc. And we can go for Recover if we need to, restore our health, etc. That's why we're running this Toxapex. Basically, endure as much damage as we possibly can. That's what Toxapex is on the team to do: endure damage, protect, and basically support our team. Speaking of support, we've got Liepard. As I told you before in the previous video, I love Prankster. I just love Prankster Pokemon. They really make a dent into your opponent's strategy or your own strategy. They really help it out one way or another. It's all dependent on what kind of a Prankster you want to run. So in this case, we're running the Liepard. So Prankster Liepard, probably a more offensive Pokemon, if ever there was one. For those who don't know Prankster Pokemon, those with the Prankster ability will have status moves have priority raised by 1. Dark-type Pokemon, however, are immune to Prankster Pokemon abilities. So what that means is if they have something like a Thunder Wave, for example, they move first. So there you go. So what does Liepard want to do? Well, Liepard wants to go for Fake Outs, wants to Protect, wants to Thunder Wave, and wants to Encore. It wants to hamper the opponent in some way. That is what Liepard wants to do. We don't have a lot of damage. The only damage we really have is Fake Out. But we do have moves that will force the opponent to play our kind of game. We want to make them... We just want to give them as hard a time as possible. So first thing we want to do, we want to fake them out, prevent them from doing whatever they want to do. Then we Thunder Wave someone, slow them down, slow down their speed. Give them a chance to be paralyzed, for example. If a Pokemon is trying to, set up or go for something like a Baton Pass or so, well, Encore or something like that will keep them locked in. If they go for a Protect, then we Encore them, force them to run Protect again. So that is what Liepard wants to do. Really want to hamper the opponent. Now moving on to our general Pokemon. As I told you before in the previous guide, we have Milotic. And for this one, we're going to go for a competitive Milotic. So it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to be taking advantage of any, Intimidate Pokemon that the opponents run. So for those Landorus lovers, this is going to be your nightmare fuel for VGC. If you run up against a Milotic, you can expect either the Marvel Scale or the competitive Milotic. I personally run competitive Milotic, but that's just me. In any case, moving on down to the ability. What does the ability do? Well, for every time the Pokemon loses a stat, the special attack stat will be raised by 2 stages if it loses a stat. So, every time it gets hit by an Intimidate, that's a +2 special attack increase. So, if your opponent is running multiple Intimidate Pokemon, this Milotic is going to get very scary very quickly, and suddenly you're not the one being intimidated. The intimidators are the one being intimidated. Get it? But in any case, moves. What was I going on with the moves? Well, pretty self-explanatory. Ice Beam, Hydro Punch for stab damage and, deal with flying types and dragon types. Recover for some, recovery. Give ourselves some extra health points. Make ourselves last longer in the fight. Protect to, as I said, help counter and help counteract our own, multi-attacking moves. Remember, 2 of our Pokemon are going to be using multi-attacking moves. We got Earthquake on Haxorus and Sludge Wave on Toxapex, and Milotic doesn't want to run up against either of those 2. So Protect is going to be necessary. Now moving on to General Pokemon number 2, which is going to be Garchomp. Now, there are a lot of Garchomp movesets. There are a lot of different ways to run Garchomp. You can't go wrong with any way to run Garchomp. You can pretty much run any kind of set and respectively rely on Garchomp being able to do what it needs to do and in any kind of scenario. But for this one, we're going to be going for the standard Rough Skin. We're going to go for Rough Skin so that if our opponent runs physical attacks or tries to go into for, like, say, fake outs, etc., we can swap Garchomp in and, get rid of their Focus Sashes. Because Liepard's going to be eating that Focus Sash. Or any other Pokemon that's really needs to rely on its Focus Sash to stay on the field. So that's what we're going to be running the Rough Skin for. We won't make use of the Sand Veil very much because there's not a lot of sand teams out there, but if there is, the Sand Veil would be very nice to have. But it's not the most reliable ability. Rough Skin, however, you know precisely what it's going to do. As for moves, well, you got a standard moveset of Dragon Claw for Dragon-type Pokemon. Then you've got Earthquake, the same thing as Haxorus. A lot of Pokemon are weak to Earthquake, and Earthquake is a stab move for Garchomp. I'm thinking VGC 2016. 2 years past in big. In any case, and then we have Iron Head. So Iron Head is going to be for those Fairy-type Pokemon, especially like Tapu Lele. Very weak to Iron Head, and Garchomp gets to learn Iron Head. Finally, we got Protect, standard move. Gonna just keep it on Garchomp just in case. We don't want Garchomp to suffer the effects of like a Sludge Wave or get hurt by Haxorus' own Earthquake as well. Just run the Protect just to be on the safe side. There's no shame in playing it safe. As for Tapu Fini is gonna be our 6th general Pokemon. And for this one, Tapu Fini is going to be on the field, and she's going to be spending most of her time, supporting herself in a way, and mildly supporting the team thanks to her Misty Surge ability. So when Tapu Fini gets sent in, her Misty Surge will activate and create the Misty Field. And for those who don't know, the Misty Field will protect your Pokemon from status effects. So if you saw earlier, you saw that Haxorus was running the Outrage. Most Pokemon that run Outrage, etc., they try to either switch out once they get confused, or they have something to prevent the confusion from taking effect. This is going to be our counter to the Outrage's confusion effects. So we can keep running Outrage over and over and not risk losing, or taking damage to confusion. Because Tapu Fini's Misty Surge will protect our Pokemon from, status conditions. We won't be able to, confuse, or, the opponent will be able to take the benefits as well. But at least this way, this is a trade-off. Sure, the opponent benefits as well, but better safe than sorry for our field. So as for Tapu Fini's moves, we already know what her ability is. They haven't released Telepathy yet. But as for moves, we are going to go for a Calm Mind setup. So Tapu Fini is going to be running a Calm Mind. She's going to probably run a Berry, and she's going to want to set up her special attack and special defenses. Then she's going to come back and hit hard with either a Moonblast or an Ice Beam or even a Muddy Water, depending on what we need to run. There are other Tapu Fini sets out there. For example, there's a very popular Choice Specs one. However, the Calm Mind one will allow us to really power up Tapu Fini. She only needs one Calm Mind to be very, very scary. And it's pretty much the same thing with Cresselia. Once Cresselia gets a Calm Mind, she's very, very scary. In any case, that's going to be the end of this video. That's why we're running all these different abilities. I've explained now each of their reasons why we're running these moves, etc. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you all learned a few things or two. In the next video, I'll go over the EVs, IV spreads, and finally what items each of these Pokemon will be running. So in any case, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye!